Alright, hello everybody. Today I got a video for you. I got three objects, but today is also one of the days where I work with some different groups of people. So I have I could only record 2 of my pots, but I did make 3, and so you'll see that a little bit later. I did one of them as a demo, and so I'm not going to record while I'm doing a demo for a group of kids, so yeah, I guess I can sort of talk about the day, because that's what this image in the middle is. And so this image in the middle, here, let me just move my microphone a little bit. This image in the middle is from my second class. They're like a group of kids from like 10 to 13 years old. Maybe one of them's a little bit younger, so maybe like 8 to 13. And they're just they're the hardest group I've had so far. They're not like little kids. You can't just entertain them. They're little, like you have more thoughts. And so they're harder to entertain especially when they get bored, right? And so that's was a little bit of a hurdle. But then they're also, if they can't do something, they get a little bit more frustrated quickly. And so that's also difficult. And they might not be strong enough to move clay really fluidly. I don't really think you need to be strong, but their body isn't necessarily like talking to, or their mind isn't talking to their body properly, right? And so there was a lot of problems today. Like I guess it's not a problem, but students sort of just got like fed up, I think, with the throwing stuff, and they just wanted to read for a little bit, and I'm not going to tell them, no, you can't read, they can, do whatever, right? But it just helped me figure out, like, oh, maybe I got to do some different things, right? But you can see this pumpkin in this cup and this little mushroom dude right now in the back, and I don't know, I thought these were pretty fun. There was one student in particular, he was just so energetic about making, he had so many ideas. I made the handle for this cup, but I really do think that, like, just the shape that he ended up making was okay, and he's so creative about what he wants to make, and he just needs help, like, sort of getting it past the goalpost, right? And when he saw this handle on the side of his cup, he was like, that's awesome, that's sick, and I was like, oh dude, that's so cool. You can see my hair getting stuck in the clay right now. Sorry, I got distracted. But I really like students like that, because I know that he might not have all the skills, but he has the thoughts, and so then we can sort of collaborate on stuff. And so that's what I was sort of hoping for. But now I'm thinking that maybe I got to do some like more prep work for that group of students, right? Like, instead of that lady when she gets like bored or something, right, in the class, instead of like reading, maybe I can make, like, you see those pumpkins in the background? Like, maybe I can make some more pumpkins, for next class. And so if they get bored with the throwing, then they can just go make a pumpkin really quick, right? And so that's sort of what my thoughts are, as of right now, is like, maybe I need to do some more prep work to get, there's another angle of that pumpkin, some more prep work to get these students a little bit more engaged, right? But then I also had another group of students, and this group of students was they all knew how to throw pretty well, and as a 3, I'm only teaching 3 in that other class that I taught today. And I'll tell you something, like, that was one of the coolest classes I've had. They're all just like really eager, and they're right at the perfect time where, like, they have some skills and some knowledge on what to do, right? But then they also have a lot of knowledge, or they have a lot of like empty space for them to fill with some new knowledge, right? And so guiding them through that, and they all made some pretty great vessels. I didn't take any photos. I already wrapped them up before I could take photos of their work. But I don't know, there was something that was so nice about having this smaller group, and I could just sort of walk over to them and be like, all right, like, what are we making here? Oh, you're making this sort of thing? Like, oh, your goal is to get a vessel over 9 inches? Okay, let's go for it. Let's see how I can help them out, And so that's sort of what I helped them out, some of them, and like I think a lot of them are just needing to know where their hands go, right? As soon as they know where their hands go on the clay, they end up just falling right into line, and it's not like a problem after that. Like they sort of just start flowing. They get into like their little flow state of making, which to me it's like really awesome to watch that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing them, and I think I can do more like floating around and just let them meander and do their thing. But with that younger group, I think I gotta do some more prep to get them into making a little bit more, right? I don't think they know how to deal with that adversity of failure just yet. And so that's a little bit about like the classes today. And next week during this time I'll also be doing an open studio class, and so that'll be pretty exciting. But yeah, I can talk about these pots. I've been really trying to get these pots to become consistent, right? And like what I mean by consistent is I don't want them to like all look the same, right? But I'm starting to really get the rhythm of things down and really get the feel of what needs to happen, and I'm starting to notice some of the patterns of the making, which has been pretty cool. I really like the one that I'm throwing on the right side right now. Like that pot just turned out awesome. I think that top part just has like a cool like blossom effect, and then how it sort of dips down on one side, but on the other side it sort of like leaches up right underneath. It really has it almost has like a mushroom quality to it, and I think I like when I have a lot of extra clay on that bottom to work with to cut and make sort of these really nice larger petals that are crawling up the side of the pot. I think they look really great with some of the taller pots. Like this one ended up being pretty tall, and it's really windy, and so I was just pretty excited about how that one turned out. I've been thinking about new ways that I can like innovate forms, but I'm also realizing that I just gotta exhaust the form out. I keep thinking like, oh, maybe I need to do this, but then I'm also realizing like, I've only made like a couple hundred of these things. I need to start making like once I get to like 500, then things like I'll exhaust the form so much, right? Or I'll become so natural at it that new avenues of making will just present themselves to me. And I think that's something that you can take into a lot of things that aren't just in ceramics, right? Like there's that saying like beating a dead horse, right? But I really think like if you just keep hitting that horse, right? That sounds so like vicious, but if you just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, like that's always been the case for me, is eventually something happens, right? Whether like you discovered something, or a failure becomes something new, or the way you glaze something, or the clay that you're using all does something different, right? I think after this batch of like this darker brown clay, I'm going to be moving on to some new stuff. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. All the best. Strong mentality. Peace.